everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Today's guest we spoke to right after he took a very close, and when I say very close, I mean 1 point loss to George Peterson at the Arnold Classic. This is the glorious Steve Laureus joining us from New York. How are you, Steve?
Good. How are you, Ron?
Good. I don't like to brag about how crappy my technology is or cry about it, but Steve has been a trooper. I've been dealing with tech issues because I'm old and I don't know how to use computers and programs. But
Yeah, I'm off today. There's nothing going on, so take all the time you need to get everything together. Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't heard a lot from you, obviously, since the Arnold. Everyone was talking about you at the Arnold and now in the weeks after because you look fantastic. Everyone was thinking, could have won. When it comes down to 1 point, it's obviously so close that it could have gone either way. But at that time, we didn't know. We weren't sure if you were qualified for the Olympia. Before the point system days, top 5, I believe, at the Arnold automatically qualified for you for the Olympia. When did you look into it, and what did you discover about that?
Technically, the Arnold only gave me 10 points.
Okay.
So I needed to do another show to qualify for the Olympia, but I don't think Neil think that it was the best thing for me to do another show right away because I did 6 previous shows within a year and a half. I did New Jersey Championship, North American, the Olympia, New York Pro. So it was just a lot of shows, and he wanted my body to rest, and get prepared for 2020 instead of going back and qualified and do the Olympia. So he didn't think my physique was going to respond very well for the Olympia if I qualified.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that I was too tired. My body was just too tired.
Right. Was there any discussion of any contest in particular that you were entertaining even for a minute before you guys came to that conclusion?
Yes, it was. I had 2 options. I had either the Pittsburgh Pro or the Tampa, because Tampa is like a few weeks out to the Olympia. So technically, I would be in shape, just trying to refine things to get ready for the Olympia. So that was the goal. But Neil thinks that if I actually polish my look and beat the look that I had for the Arnold, it's easy top 5 or top 3 if I come in heavier and leaner. So, but he's like, all right, we're not going to take chances. It would be good for your career to be in the top 5, but at the same time, we're not chasing that. We're chasing, looks. So we're going to take about 10 months to really work on your physique and come next year bigger and leaner for the Arnold again. So that's what we're going to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a commitment. That's a full year between shows, which is
yes.
Typically, it's oftentimes been a recipe for success, though, especially where guys needed a certain thing and they just needed time. We'll get into it in a minute, but anybody who's been around long enough takes a look at you and knows all you need is time. A little more time to get things right, and you'll be where you need to be. Yeah. Did you feel like also, if you take this time off and make those improvements, coming back to the Arnold, you're going to look so much better that it doesn't even matter who else is going to show up, except, let's give respect to the champ, Breon or something, if he decided to show up. But other than Breon or other people, it would be very, very difficult to beat you at this 2020 Arnold if everything goes as planned over the rest of this year.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, Ron. I've never been so focused and regimented for competing. This is like the most, after the Arnold, I know that I needed some time to just like live life, relaxed, and now we're back in full mode again of training, eating. So I'm ready for Arnold 2020, man. I can't wait. I'm excited. I just can't wait to go back up there,
Right. I'm going to switch gears now a little bit because it's nickname time for you. You had a nickname. I never liked Mr. Propa. It's like, doesn't even sound like it doesn't sound like a bodybuilder. It doesn't, it sounds like a rapper or something. I don't know.
I didn't like it either.
You have 2 new nicknames to choose from. Tell me who gave you the nickname. What are these 2 nicknames that we might settle on one for the rest of your career?
Well, I don't know. I like both. my friends and my coach actually call me the specimen. You know, they're like, "You're a human specimen." You know that they always make fun of me because of that. Like for instance, I would be in the elevator with Neil. Like when I went to spend time with him, I'll be in the elevator. He would look at me and like, "Mate, you're a fucking specimen, man." He always say that, so I would laugh. But also my friends in the gym, they always call me that. But the name Glorious is from Redcon One, Aaron Singerman. He used to call me that, and it is what it is. I don't care. It doesn't matter what name they pick for me, and you know, I'm just here to just like work hard and get better anyway. So
personally, if I was the guy picking your nicknames, I like Glorious because it rhymes with Laureus, for one thing.
Yes, yes.
It's got a ring to it. I could hear Bob Ciccarello, like booming voice, announcing you as the Glorious Steve Laureus right before you come on stage at the Olympia or something. So, tell me about how your training has really changed since you started with Neil, especially over this past, now that you've got a real off season and you can really utilize a lot of his techniques without having to worry about prepping for a contest. So what's your training like now as opposed to like, you know, a year ago?
Actually, I just started training with Dr. Mike Camp, he's a physical therapist. He trains Sadiq.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so Sadiq is my training partner now. But normally I would go visit Neil and train with Neil for a few weeks. So I'm planning on going to see Neil in the next 3-4 weeks from now to spend 10 days over there. His training is very, very different from a lot of trainings I've done in the past. Because when I'm with Neil, it's almost like it's a camp. I get up in the morning, I get my breakfast, everything is on time. He times everything. We train at a certain time. You know, I go to bed at a certain time. So it makes such a big difference on the way I look. Even if I'm there for a week, I come back to New York, everybody's like, dude, what the hell happened, you know? Because of how much hard work. He pushed me. There's certain sets I'll do with Neil, I don't know how I do it. It's just, there's no way that I thought I can push myself to that level, you know, of intensity. So his belief for pushing myself that way. Flex trains the same way. That's how he trains Flex Lewis. So Neil always tell me that when you go beyond, you're normally refining certain muscle fibers that you never targeted before. It makes a big difference on stage when you just hit a back double bicep or hit abdominals and thighs, because you work harder than other guys that would just settle for 12 reps. But you could do so much more. You could go beyond, you know?
So, you know, I know from our past conversations and just from looking at your physique, the areas that you've been trying to really bring up, the mid-back thickness, the hamstrings, the calves a little bit. Are you able to get, say, like a deeper mind-muscle connection now after working with Neil? Did he show you any ways to really target those muscles better that you weren't able to do in the past?
Yes, yes. Especially with, I would say, especially with, what was I going to say? It's not registering. Well, there's a lot of mind and muscle connection, and Neil always wanted me to focus on form and controlling the weight. There was one technique that I learned. Like, I think I had a video last year of training with Flex Lewis and Neil. All three of us were training together. Oh, wow. And you can hear Flex yelling at me in the background on every exercise that I did. Control, 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 control. Like he was getting upset because he wanted me to control the weight. Yeah. You know, the system, it's all in here. You have to imagining that you're really targeting that muscle with a lot of control, you know, and also pause reps, you know, going beyond of your maximum.
Another thing with his system of training is that, you know, I know he's big on he varies the reps, he varies the intensity. When you were training on your own prior to that, were you typically using like a similar rep range all the time for things without rotating it? Because sometimes that's all it takes is changing up your rep ranges and rotating them like that to see a difference.
Yes, basically, I think I told you several times that normally when I was training in the past, I was just doing like a Ronnie Coleman type of routine. I trained not the same amount of weights, of course, but it's just routines I normally follow. And I think just because of trending that way, it changed a lot of my physique. But I didn't think that including different style my body would respond to, to a different method. Because some guys can do the same routine for 20 years. Like, for instance, Dorian Yates did the same routine for 20 years. One of the craziest back I've ever seen. Is what you're giving the workout. It's what you're putting into the workout that's going to make the difference. Some people say you have to change it up, but I always believe that we don't want to regulate ourselves and say these things because we believe that's what it is. But it's all in the mind and how much you're putting into the workout, basically.
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll see somebody's workout written down on paper. It doesn't look like much. You'll see someone else's workout on paper like, wow. But then if you actually watch those two people, the person whose workout didn't look like anything special, you see that person pour. It's like I trained legs with Branch Warren once, and if you saw the workout, you'd be like, okay, there was some drop sets, there was some this and that, big deal. But if you were there and you watch Branch train legs, it's crazy the amount of intensity, and he barely rests between sets, and it's very, very brutal style of training. Yeah.
That's how Neil is too. He doesn't have me talking, resting. There's no phone. He's very big on amino acids. Before and after, in the morning. This, like I said, there's times that I get so frustrated because of him pushing me to a limit that I said, I feel like my muscles are going to tear apart. But I have to do it anyways. It's crazy amount of intensity.
I've never heard of Flex has been training under his tutelage for all these years. He's never had an injury, so I think Neil he'll work you hard, but he keeps you safe too.
Yes. And another thing, there's a lot of guys that do multiple different exercises. Like, let's say a normal guy would go to the gym. He believes that if he include 6 different techniques for back, it's going to change his look. It's because he's doing different variations of exercises. But sometimes I would train arms or back with Neil. My arm workout would be just like 2 different exercises, but it would be about 10 to 12 sets of that same exercise. I remember I trained shoulders. We did 3 things for shoulders. I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand, I couldn't lean on anything. It's almost like I was going through exorcism. I didn't know exactly where I was, That's the level of intensity. It was just 3 exercises that we did, and it was just an hour training. It was insane amount of intensity.
I'm trying to bring this in front of the camera because you said exorcism, so I had to show. There's Reagan from The Exorcist. Okay, getting back to Olympia for just a second, were you really, really looking forward to Olympia this year? Like you were dying to do it and it kind of bummed you out? Or are you cool with the fact that the next time you're on that Olympia stage, it's going to be a very, very different story from 2018 where, I think you had a shot at top 5. It's certainly not like you weren't in contention for it, but if you make these improvements that I believe you're going to make, it's going to be a whole different Steve Laureus in 2020 Olympia stage than 2018. So how did you look at it? Because I know a lot of other people would have found out, damn it, I'm not qualified for Olympia. I really want to do the Olympia. This sucks. What was your thought?
Actually, Ron, a lot of the top competitors, I'm talking about some of the guys from the Open, even the Mr. Olympia now, Sean Roden, think it's a mistake not competing this year. And I think Brendan Carey told me the same thing. Even Dexter Jackson told me the same thing. So, but Neil is my coach. I'm always going to listen to Neil. But in the bottom of my heart, I know I definitely would have made good improvements. Yeah. But I believe next year is time, when you give your body time to really develop, it's a big difference on the physique. 7 pounds next year on my frame would make a big difference. Instead of 7 pounds from here and now to the Olympia, it's a rush gain that I'm going to put on. It may not look good on my physique. Yeah. So I would rather take my time to polish that look, refining my muscles, taking that time to really make those improvements instead of jumping into a show right away, trying to squeeze myself into top 5 and trying to challenge these guys. Next year, I want these guys to be against me. I'm challenging them. Like, they want to challenge me. Yeah. So I don't want to compete against anyone next year. I want people to compete against me. That's the mindset we have for 2020. So we want to have a look that is very impressive for the stage next year.
I have no doubt. So I'm just curious, when Sean and Brandon were telling you it's a mistake, why did they think it was a mistake for you to not do the Olympia this year?
Because they think sometimes some competitors get better through shows after shows. Some guys take a whole year off. They think that they're going to come better, but it's not the case. You know, they don't come as good. Right. You know, even though they take all that time off. You know, and he believed that I would be showing a lot more of what I'm capable of. You know, it's always I'm introducing myself to the crowd, to the judges, you know, to my fans. You know, so I'm proving myself over and over again. That's what they believe. They believe that it would be a good thing for me to do.
Well, I'm not gonna say that they're wrong, because I respect all those men, of course, but I would argue with them that Dexter has all the muscle he's ever gonna need. He doesn't need to improve any body parts or muscle mass. Same thing Sean Roden. Sean Roden's physique is not going to change. He's 40. These guys are in their 40s. Brandon's pretty much as big as he's ever going to need to be. You were 205 at the Arnold. The weight limit for Classic for you is 215 for being 5'10". I know weight means nothing, but we're looking at it in terms of what would 10 pounds of extra muscle on your back, in the areas of back thickness, more hamstrings and calves, what would that look like on your physique? And I think it's a physique that would be, if not the Classic Physique Olympia champion, it'd be giving whoever is the champion a real run for his money. So, you're welcome. But I mean, you're a work in progress. You're still growing. You know, you were doing Musclemania a few years ago, for God's sake. That's what these guys aren't. Maybe they don't know the whole background and everything. But
yeah. So, but I'm really taking my time now to work day by day, improving, doing what I'm supposed to do, eating my meals, train. You know, I'm training with the guy, Dr. Mike Camp and Sadiq now. So days that I feel like I'm being lazy, I have to go and train with them because they're pushing me. You know, like tomorrow I'm training back with them, and I'm actually very excited. I can't wait to go and train with them tomorrow. So I'm training with a guy named Vlad too. He's a 212 guy. He's a very thick, you know, guy, and so I know he's stronger. So he's gonna push me to work harder tomorrow. And I'm taking opportunities of everybody that I meet now in the industry of advice and training and eating. So I'm here to learn more because I still think I'm very new to the industry still. So I haven't been, so, you know.
Did Dr. Camp work on you to help resolve the issues that you had from your car accident a few years back?
Actually, he haven't worked on me yet. I actually had an injury a couple weeks ago. It's minor. It's a strain. It's a strain on my adductors, but you know, but I'm fine already. It just needed like 2 weeks to really heal. So it's from squatting, and you know, he's supposed to work on it this week again, but it's nothing. It's a minor issue. Yeah.
See, I think that's how Nathan Dash hurt his quad a few weeks ago, was front squatting 6 plates. You guys got to ease up on the weight on those.
Actually, it was not much weight. It was only 225. I just think I moved the wrong way, and you know, I was still able to finish training. It wasn't something that, like, it was. I would say, oh, I'm very curious and worried about that it's not going to heal, because I had so many injuries in the gym. Some injuries are like 2-3 weeks. Some of them are months, but this one was nothing really.
Oh, good. Well, that's good to hear. We're trying to get you on the rise. We don't want anything slowing you down, guy. Not now. So, yeah. Last question I have for you is, when we talked last time, you know, you said you do plan on probably growing into the open eventually within a few years. What kind of reaction did you get? Because I'm sure some people probably said, came up to you and said, "Yeah, that's awesome. We'd love to. I can't wait to have you in the Open, all with the shape and everything that you have." Well, other people are probably not so happy because they want the Classic division to grow, and they don't want the best guys like you to leave the Classic division. So, what kind of reaction were you getting from people?
A lot of people think it's a good idea if I eventually do the Open. Some people want me to stay Classic. I'm brand new to Classic. I haven't really proved myself to the division yet. I really want to take my time to do certain shows, a certain amount of shows, and taking a big win eventually. Yeah. That's the goal. I don't think that I don't have the physique to take a big win. I believe I just have to deliver, Yeah. So, and I'm not rushing either, but I want to do that next year. I want to come next year and start winning some shows and eventually move forward, and maybe in 2 years do the Open, maybe, Yeah. So that's what we're looking at right now.
I mean, you see the way Flex Lewis did it. People were telling him to go Open years and years ago, but he said, no, let me be the best 212 in the world for a while, create a legacy, and then we'll see what happens. And I believe he's going to do very, very well in the Open next year when he comes back. I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be one of the top guys right away.
I saw him recently. It's, he's going to do well. Yeah. He's going to do very well.
And, I would apply that same rationale to you. I think, with the structure, the muscle bellies, all that, the frame, you'll do very well in Open eventually. But I would like to see you take a couple years and do excellent, be the best Classic bodybuilder in the world. I'd like to see you at least win an Olympia title before you move on.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Definitely, I'm gonna aim for that. But you never know.
Right.
So
you never know. I mean,
let's see.
These other guys didn't know that you were coming along. There might be another. There's always somebody out there. That's the exciting thing about the sport. Until 2 years ago, I never heard of you. Had no idea who you were, and then boom, who the hell is this guy? And that's the way Classic's going to be for a while, I think, because it's such a growing division. Every year we're going to get a couple guys like, oh my God, where'd this guy come from?
It's interesting that when the division was opening, the woman that I was working with has a posing coach at the time, Denise Pons. She told me that they were creating a division that's called Classic Physique. She said the first show would be the Metropolitan, Beth Francis Metropolitan. She said, do that show, that would be your first NPC show, and eventually do the, not the Atlantic States, the Team Universe, and turn pro, and see if you can work your way to do the Olympia that same year. But that same year, I had to get surgery for a hernia. So that just stopped everything, and I couldn't do anything for about a year and a half. So, and here I am coming along now, and I wish I did it, 2 years ago when it first opened. But, anyways, I'm not saying that because I think it would have been an easy run for me, because I think the division already progressed a lot more compared to 2 years ago. So, it's a challenge.
Your first season would have been 2016. It would have been.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because 2017, that was the year you did the Jersey. You won the Jersey, your first NPC show, right? And then North American, you got your pro card there, and did not do that first Olympia, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You came back.
No, I didn't.
No, you came back. No, you came back as a pro in last year.
Pittsburgh.
You won the Pittsburgh, and you did New York Pro as a 212 because I don't know why. And then the Olympia.
Yeah.
It was a fun day.
The main reason why I did the 212 that year is because I believe that I didn't have stage presence and stage confidence. I wanted to do shows just to really get comfortable and see what it's like. To me, and it was my own gym, like Steve Weinberger's show. So I just wanted to just make an appearance, whether it's not that I was looking to win and create history with everything, but I just wanted to go out there and compete, man, and have fun, Well,
you redeemed yourself quite well after that anyway. I think everyone understood you weren't really, targeting the 212 New York Pro that year as like, oh my, I got to win this. You know, I think people saw it for what it was, and you know, once they saw you at the Olympia, and especially when we saw you at the Arnold 3 months ago, yeah, you know, we know what you're capable of. We know what you're all about. Yeah.
I don't think anyone was actually. I don't think anybody was expecting the look that I had for the Arnold. After the whole thing with Pittsburgh, people believe that I can't get lean. Everybody can get lean. I believe sometimes that it takes time to really, for a coach to understand someone's physique. Like Neil did it in 6 months. I was only working with Neil for 6 months for me to move on for the Arnold. Yeah. But after we did the Arnold, he was like, okay, mate, I know your body. I know how your body works. Yeah. So he's like, they just got to be careful next year with you because we're going to do some damage next year. That's what he said.
Not to kiss Neil Hill's ass too much, but John De La Rosa was a guy I was like, I kind of gave up. I'm like, that's it. I've seen him compete like a dozen times now. He's never going to be as lean as I want him to be, and I just sort of accepted that. And then he started working with Neil, and New York Pro, he looked pretty good, but I was in Toronto, and he nailed it. He nailed it. Best John ever.
Neil didn't want John to do the New York Pro. Right. He didn't believe that John was going to be ready for the New York Pro. He was telling John not to do that show. He says, your body needs time because all the damage you did to your physique. He says, he told John that he was going to crack maybe 6th to 4th place. He said, that's the placing you're going to get. Yeah. He says, if you want to do it, okay, fine, but you're probably not even going to make top 3. That's what Neil said. So John wanted to do it, and Neil said, all right, we'll see how you do at the New York Pro, but going forward, we need time to really develop more certain part of his physique, because his back was lacking a little bit. So Neil said, we need a lot of time to really bring you lean and refining a lot of muscle tissues in your body.
Neil was exactly right. He took 4th place in New York, and then he had 2 more weeks.
He was right about the Olympia too. He was right about the Olympia. He told me I was going to get maybe 7 for 6 at the Olympia.
Neil's good. Well, I'm very excited to see what you and Neil as a team can put together over this next year. It's kind of a bummer that we all have to wait until next March to see the final result, the product of all this. But good things are worth waiting for. So if it's okay, I'd like to keep people updated on you every now and then, so they don't forget about you. And because you're a guy you're going to be one of the very top guys. So I don't want people to forget about you. I'm not going to forget about you. And, there's a rumor you might even get a cover on Muscular Development soon. I don't know where I heard that, but we'll see. Little birdie told me.
I'm very excited for that. I can't wait because it was a cover of Muscular Development magazine I saw years ago of Ronnie Coleman that actually got me to do bodybuilding. Started looking into bodybuilding, reading more, and start training. It was I was doing a project for school, and I just saw it there. I picked it up, and I said, there's no way someone is this big. There's no way. And I started reading on him, and he's been my idol since,
Yeah, not a bad guy. Not a bad guy. Cool. Yeah. Steve, thank you so much for your time. I'm very, very thankful that you put up with all my technical difficulties and glitches on the road. It turns out this did turn out to be a usable video. I didn't want to tell you till I was 100% sure because I was having difficulties. But this is going to work out, and it's going to be up tomorrow. So thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck with all the training, eating, resting, growing, and improving that you're about to do over the next few months. I'm looking forward to watching you make your progress.
Thank you so much, Ron. Thank you for having me. Just want to say thank you to MD for even featuring me, issuing me to the magazines. To me, it's a dream. And all my sponsors are supporting me as well. I just want to say thank you to everyone.
I see the Gymshark logo. Not a bad company to be with.
Yeah, Gymshark and MFit, of course.
MFit supplements, Gymshark clothing, and you'd be good to go. Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching Ronline Report with the glorious. Yes, we're going to keep saying it. The glorious Steve Laureus.
All right, I'm okay with it. It doesn't matter to me.
All right, man.
All right.
Catch you next time.
Thank you, Ron. Have a good day.